time, so I'm just going to go to one final question, which is a very quick question and hopefully a quick answer as well. But I'll go around the room. What's next? We're going to start with Amy.
I'll go out on a limb and say I think only a fool would try to predict what's next. The speed of change is quite incredible, and I think that speed of change is what's creating an awful lot of fear. But I guess if I think about what's next, there are a few things. Firstly, I think that over the next few years, we will start to see this standardized operating interface. We're just at a place right now where we don't know what that's going to look like. And we went through exactly the same with the adoption of the smartphone. So that's definitely for me something that I expect will be next, that the fog will clear and there will be some winners and we'll all be sort of using those winners. The second thing that I think is next, and I build on David here, I think that what's next is that we'll see an increasing awareness for the need of literacy around this space, so that our employees, our children, ourselves, we will become more aware and understanding of what's important and what's not important when it comes to advances in the space.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And I'm going to come back to that point about literacy later as well, because it's not just the preserve of the few people that need to worry about this anymore. It's the preserve of the organization in terms of understanding data analytics, AI, everything that they need to be doing in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, I see it twofold, I guess. I see it's going to be deeply ingrained and involved from a society perspective in terms of how we all live. And you could look at that from a productivity perspective, from everything pertaining to geopolitics, economics, you know, any things from, you know, a starting point to a redefining how we all work and we live. But I do think from, and kind of calling on everything said by Paul, David and Amy, we will, there's no question we're going to encounter challenges in that, and that's maybe just our ability to adjust, our appetite for risk, and obviously from a demographic perspective we'll all look at that quite differently. But I do believe what's next is it is a force of good change. It's how we adjust to that change, how we manage it, and I think I'll just refer back to my comment earlier, and I do personally still believe it'll be an accelerator and an assistant. Maybe in some sectors or some kind of roles, perhaps a replacement. But I certainly think it's absolutely here to stay, and it is going to grow exponentially, and it's how we embrace it. But again, coming back to the literacy from David earlier, it's like anything. We've all been burnt in the years, you know, through challenges in terms of economic crisis and many things that have happened. And the evidence from all of that, you know, points back to data, or points back to your point, Tim, information. So it is really around, again, wrapping the right governance around this to ensure that we can all accelerate in a way that makes society and the workforce a better place by utilising it.
Fantastic, thank you. And I'll and Paul, what's your view?
For me, probably a more early stage level. For me, what's next, I think, is a bit more maturity around AI. And what I mean by that is, you know, we've come through that early adopter innovation kind of frantic phase, and now I'd be expecting kind of more mature type of conversations where people are starting to share where there's practical examples of what it does, and equally where there's practical examples, as David said earlier, where it hasn't worked, and moving that into kind of better opportunities for collaboration, adoption, and mature kind of conversations of the value of it and the risks of it. And I think we're still in that little bit of a frantic phase where some of the early adopters, as Amy said, the innovators at the start are flying ahead and seeing advantages. We just need to mature a little bit over the next kind of 6-12 months and see where the practicalities of it. And equally in some professions where people are using it but maybe not accepting or being open as to the values it's bringing in efficiency and stuff, because that will damage their business model. I think that's all going to start playing out over the next 12 months, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. And over to you then, David. I mean, other than obviously the publication of Kerrigan's Law, where else? What do you see?
So I think, I mean, I get this question. I think it's become a standard now. I expect it at the end of every speech I give. Somebody puts up their hand and says, "Oh yeah, AI is great. What's next?" And I think, you know, they expect me to say, "Oh, it's going to be DNA, it's going to be robotics, it's going to be quantum. And I think, yes, they're all important. But my simple answer now is, what's next is more AI.
Fantastic. I look forward to more of that. And as you say, I'm sure the robotics and the quantum computing are in there as well. Look, I've really enjoyed this conversation. So I really want to thank you all for your time. And it's very generous. I know you're all very busy, so very generous of you to share your time with us. So thank you once again to David, to Jack, to Amy, and to Paul. So I really appreciate you. So thank you.